Now the Princess Elizabeth we knew and loved returns amongst us as our Queen. In Hyde Park, they salute the new Queen, Elizabeth.
Hello and welcome to the sewing studio. Today I'm going to show you how to do the bow tie block on our Jubilee quilt. And for this block you will need, for each bow tie, you will need 3 2.5-inch squares of our Union Jack fabric and 2 squares of our background fabric. And they need to be 2.5 inches. So I've got some that I've cut here already. So I need 3 of those, and I need 2 of these. And then later on we're going to need some background triangles which are going to fit like this to make our row. Now these triangles are cut from 5-inch squares, so you'll need a 5-inch square which you're going to cut in half on the diagonal to form these triangles. But first of all, I'm going to show you how to make the bow tie. So the first thing you need to do is you need to fold one of your Union Jack pieces in half, wrong sides together. I'll just show you on this camera here. So wrong sides together. And then you're going to sandwich this between a Union Jack piece, so right sides together of our folded piece to the right side of our Union Jack, and then right side of our background piece. And you're going to sew that all the way down using a 1/4 inch seam. So I'm just going to pop a pin in there for a moment. And when you've sewn that together, you're then going to sew 2 more pieces to the other side. But what you must remember is where you've got a Union Jack, you need to have a white piece on the opposite side. So what I'm going to do is fold that back. So we need to have the white piece underneath and the Union Jack on top. And we're going to sew that down. So I'm going to the machine, I'm going to sew it together, and then I'm going to come back and show you on this camera how it is before we then join it completely. So I'm just going to show you again on this camera so you can see it a little bit closer. So we've got our folded piece and the fold goes into the centre, and we've got our raw edges at the top. I'm going to put that one on top there. And I'm going to sew all the way down. And then what we're going to do, so you can see here that I've got my Union Jack fabric which is on top and the white on the bottom. So when I come to do the other side, I need to make sure that my Union Jack fabric is at the bottom. Let's just line that up there. And my white fabric is on top, like that. So I'm just going to sew that all the way down. And now I'm going back to the middle to show you on the other camera how we open this out, and then we're going to come back and join it again. So now you can see we've got our little folded piece sandwiched between our other pieces. And what we need to do is we need to open up this fold here, and we need to push our fabric in opposite directions. So I'm going towards the darker fabric again. And then that gives me my seam there in the centre. So I'll just show you that again. So we're going to open up this piece and we're going to push our folded pieces towards the dark fabric on both sides, and then we're going to butt those two seams together. Hoping you can see it on this camera. Butt those two seams together, and I'm just going to pop a pin in there to hold that. And it is a little bit fiddly, but then we're going to ease this piece out here, because that there is going to be caught in our seam. So just take your time and ease it in. I'll pop another pin in there just to hold that. And then the same on the other side. So just pull that out. And we're going to sandwich that between there. So again, I'm just going to pop a pin in to hold it. And then when I go back to the machine, I can line it up a little bit better. So it is a bit fiddly. So I'm just going to make sure that it all lines up like that. And now I'm going to sew that. So I'm just going to do a 1/4 inch seam where I've pinned. And you can see on this camera here that that's our bow tie completed, but I'm just going over to the iron now to give it a good press. So that's our block. So these go together on point. So you remember earlier on I said about your 5-inch square. So I'm just going to cut one of those on the diagonal to show you what I mean. And then all these triangles actually fit here like this with our block. And when you make your next block, that's going to sit there, and then this one will fill in under there. So when you get to the end of your row, so you can see on the quilt behind me, I've done 7 bow ties in each row, top and bottom, and you assemble them like this. So the first thing you would do, let me just come back and show you, you would join that one to that one, and that one to that one. And then you would just repeat this all the way through, and then you would join that to that, and then those to that. So you would go along and you're doing your blocks on point. Now, when you get to the end, so you're going to finish with something like that when you've decided how many bow ties you want to do. So you just take one of these and you put that in the end, so you can see here that it's squared it off at either end. So that's the great thing about this background fabric. You can just slot it together like a jigsaw puzzle. As I say, I've done 7. You can do as many as you want or as few as you want. You can also do different colours, as I've done here. I've got some Union Jack, and then I've got some black and white spotty ones. So as always, make it your own, have fun, and I look forward to seeing you here in the sewing studio the next time.